Are you ready? Are you ready? If you ain't got no money.
Hey everybody, it's Ashley J here coming to you again for another episode of According to Ashley. Tonight I wanted to really focus on a book that I've been reading for the past month and a half or so, and it was a book that I could really relate to, and it not only enlightened me about my own people, but it actually educated me about the mentality that society has with certain aspects of the inner city, and it was very interesting to me. So I wanted to definitely do this book review. The book is actually called Code of the Street: Decency, Violence, and the Moral Life of the Inner City. It's by the author Elijah Anderson, who is not only an author, but he is also a professor of social sciences at the University of Pennsylvania. Now, the book, as the title says, is called Code of the Street, and it really touched me because it was something that I personally could relate to as well. I grew up in the city of Detroit. Most people that come from Detroit, they know there's an east side of Detroit and a west side of Detroit, but either way, the city of Detroit is the city of Detroit in itself. I was born and raised in Detroit, and I was born and raised in the inner city part of Detroit. That being said, the reason that I could relate to this book the most is because it focused mostly on the mentality of individuals that are born and raised in the inner city, but it focused also on the people that struggle to get out of the inner city. And I feel that that is something that I wanted to understand more, because not everybody gets out of the city. Not everybody gets out of that city life mentality. And I wanted to focus tonight on one of the aspects that the book took when it talks about the success of an inner city person. Now, what exactly does that mean? A lot of times in general, when people focus on the word success and what it means, the biggest thing that comes to mind is the money factor. Lots of people, and I can definitely probably say the majority of people, focus success with, or coincide success with, a substantial amount of money, whether it be money, cars, clothes, boats, trips around the world, exotic locations of homes, and all that type of stuff. Either way, all of those things circulate around a substantial amount of money. That is equated with success a lot of times. Now, what exactly is inner city success, and can those two even be related? According to this book, there is a way to relate those two things together, but it's kind of in a twisted way. Let me explain. What exactly makes up the inner city? By society standards, inner city is, of course, inside of a bigger city. Typically, it's stereotyped as having the projects, rundown homes, drug dealers, street lords, kids hanging outside of convenience stores, liquor stores, beauty supply stores, nail salons, Chinese restaurants, money order places where you can cash a check fast, cash advance places. Those are just some of the things that I have found in inner cities. And again, I speak on this because I was born and raised in the inner city, so I've seen these things. And so it's not really just a stereotype. A lot of times, most of those things are a reality of living in the inner city. But again, can inner city and success be combined together? What defines success within an inner city? Again, this focuses on the money factor. Everyone kind of pretty much knows when it comes to getting money in the inner city, it's fast money. It's not really money that is made over the course of a substantial amount of time. It's not really money that is made through an educated factor. It's more of money that is made the quick way. And most times that's through the selling of drugs. That leads to the portrayal of the drug dealer or the drug lord that drives the expensive cars, has the flashy clothes, has the flashy jewelry, has the grill sometimes, is in tip-top shape, so to speak, from head to toe, wearing the latest fashions, always looking clean, always having something new, shoes, glasses, jewelry. All of those things kind of gives the model of what street success is. When it comes to the women that go after these men, they too expect to be from head to toe donned in the latest jewelry, fashion, shoes, purses, clothes, luggage, you name it, they have it. That is what the typical realm of success is in the inner city. Now, what the book talks about is how is it that we get stuck in that mentality? And who is to blame for being stuck, so to speak, in that type of mentality of what success is and how it's going to remain that way? Well, the book really talks about how, depending on how a person is raised, depending on the type of family they came from, depending on what they grew up around and what they're used to, that can determine whether they get out of that mentality and out of that situation or not. And me personally, I had a very strong opinion about this topic when I had discussions with friends. Some of them were born and raised in the inner city as myself. Others were born and raised in the suburban areas and came from a little bit more money. So they were kind of questioning certain things, and I did not fault them at all for asking those things because that's not what they were used to. And there is nothing wrong with what it is that you're used to, but I do applaud people that are a little more open-minded with trying to understand that. So I sat and I thought about what this book was talking about when it came to this whole mentality of success in the inner city. And it really got me to looking at the people that I grew up around and the things that I see when I go back to the city and visit my family. And I really started to see what the book was talking about. I have a couple friends of mine that value materialistic things. They're more so interested in standing in line 3 days before the new pair of Jordans comes out than standing in line an hour to get a new job. They're more interested in having the latest new brand of glasses and jewelry than to have applications to go to different universities and go to different branded universities or jobs. They're more interested in getting that quick money rather than putting in the hard work to try and find your talent, find your skill, and then become educated in ways to enhance that skill and turn it into a legitimate business. They're more interested in the quick money than the work money. Do I fault them for that? To some extent, maybe. But I had to step back and look at the people that I knew that came from that environment as I did myself. Those circumstances were around me. I too could have become one of those people that wanted the quick money. I too could have been one of those people that saw no issue in just standing on the corner selling drugs or being around it or dating a guy that did that. I could have been one of those women, but I wasn't, and I refused to be. But I did understand that there are people that are born into that situation and can't get out of it because that is all that they have known. That is all that they have been used to. No one has any control over what environment they're born into, what type of family they're born into. And I think that's where people start to get misconstrued and get confused. People that don't come from that kind of environment just say, well, why can't you just get out? Or why can't you just do this? Or why can't you just do that? I really understood that sometimes it is not that easy. You cannot break a person's mentality who has been raised to believe a certain thing or a certain lesson that they have been taught to constantly have and to constantly practice for several years and expect them to break it over the course of a night or even the course of a year. You can't take someone that has had the same type of mentality for 20 years and expect them to break it like that. It's not going to happen. And that was something that I had to understand with this book. I was guilty at some times of looking at people that came from the same neighborhood as me, and I was just thinking, you came from the same circumstances as I did, so why is it that you chose this life versus the other? And it came to a point where I had to understand that not everybody's going to think that same way. So the mentality of success in the inner city remains as that person that gets that quick money. And is it sad? Yes. Can we blame society? To an extent, because according to the book, there were other people that were born and raised into those same circumstances and were trying to get out, but ended up having to fall back into that area of mentality because society would not allow them to do better. Now, I was always taught that as an African American, there's always going to be something held against us. We're always going to have to work about 20,000 times harder than everyone else. My number is exaggerating, but I was always taught that we're going to have to work twice as harder than our counterparts. We're always going to have a little bit extra than the next person. We're always going to have to be at least 12 steps ahead of our counterparts that are of other races. That was something my family did not hide from me. That is something that my family constantly drained into my head. And I have seen those things happen. I have seen that happen in real life. And, I don't always pull the race factor into it, but I had to understand the reality of it is that as long as I look the way that I look, there's always going to be something there that falls into that category. But backing up into the subject here of inner city success, I do feel that as a people, we need to get better at the picture of success and the mentality of what we have as success. I feel that we need to come together and not be afraid of a good work ethic and not be afraid to work hard the right way to get where we need. There are some people in society that got success overnight, but they did it using some skills that they obtained over time, and they took those skills and worked hard to make it happen for them. And I feel that as a people, there are things that we do need to get together. And one of those things is trying to find value in things other than the video games, the quick, fast money, the jewelry, the name brand of shoes, the Jordans, you name it, materialistic things. I do feel like as a people, we need to go beyond that. We need to put more of a value on things that will last a lifetime, like education. One of the biggest things that's, is important is education. And not just education that you obtain from a book, not just education that you obtain in the classroom, but being able to learn things that another part of society can teach us. I feel that as a people, we don't put a value on those things like we should. I feel for our younger generations that will come after me and after, the millennials. I feel for them. And I hope and pray to God that they will be able to have some sort of guidance and leadership that would lead them to better futures, because I feel that society is no longer putting a value on education. I feel that society is no longer putting a value on those things that are going to help our youth grow to be better leaders and grow to be the type of people that we need that are going to lead this world. I feel that society now has made it okay for our youth to believe that it's okay to sell drugs, that it's okay to just be a rapper, that it's okay to just be a star athlete. And by all means, that is okay to an extent. But I don't feel like that is the only dream that we should be selling to our youth, especially our men. I feel that we should allow them to know where we came from as a people. I can't even count the number of young people that I know that are of the African American race that have no idea where we came from, that have no idea what our history is. In fact, I don't even think I remember African American history being taught after I got out of high school. I really don't think it's something that is being taught. But I feel that as a people, we need to wrap our arms around each other and try to reach out to our youth and let them know that there are other ways of being successful that do not have to do with just standing at the end of the block and selling drugs. Mentorship is something that I feel needs to be strongly pushed, more so than the latest hip-hop album, the latest rap album, the latest sports statistics. Our young people are going to suffer the most if we as a generation, older generation, do not take the time to let our youth know that regardless of what circumstances you were born into, regardless of what type of family you're in, regardless of what dream you have, you do not have to succumb to what society says you are to succumb to because of where you came from or because of what you were born into. Anybody can surpass their circumstances. And that's something that I feel that this book caused me to kind of look at. I have a younger brother myself who is growing up and is about to be 18. and he himself will be going out into the world. But I know that for men, it's a lot harder to become popular or to become liked because you're smart or because you're educated or because you're not interested in the latest fashion, but you're more interested in trying to get out and be a successful person through education. And I feel that I hope and pray that that's something that I will be able to model to my children when I have them. And again, as a society, we do need to come together and we do need to change our mindset. We really do. We need to take every child and youth and person in our inner city and let them know that that's not the end. That they don't have to just have end of the block dreams. That they don't have to just stop right there at the end of the block and just be stuck in the inner city and that's it. They don't have to be stuck in that mentality. But as long as we continue to glamorize the hood, as long as we continue to glamorize Jordans, to glamorize Cartier glasses being worn at concerts, as long as we glamorize standing in line for the newest video game and pair of shoes more so than glamorizing standing in college application lines or standing in lines to make, get a better job. As long as we continue to glamorize the opposite, we're just going to have another generation following along that's going to just be broken and uneducated and just not have any values on what it is to be a successful person the right way. So that's just my spiel on that particular topic that was in the book. I felt that was something that really touched me because, like I said, I know people that came from the same neighborhood as I did, in the same city as I did, and tried to make it out and didn't, or just didn't make it out at all because of what was glamorized, what was glorified, and what they felt was the definition of success. So for all of you out there that know someone that's growing up in the inner city and gives the rendition that they feel that is the end all and be all, I encourage everyone to kind of let them know that that doesn't have to be the end for them. I know I personally would like to let everyone know that, but that's just my take on that particular topic for tonight. And I will be getting back with you guys for another episode. I'm going to talk some more about this book eventually once I'm done with it, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. But that's my spiel on it for now. And from myself to you guys, I want to wish you all happy holidays through this season. And I invite you all to be with your families, your friends, spread the love, spread the joy, however you choose to celebrate this holiday season. And I will talk to you guys later on for another episode. This is According to Ashley, and I'll talk to you guys later.